Now, since Donald Trump has Donkey Konged his way to the Republican nomination, the GOP has largely fallen in line, with Republicans like Marco Rubio, Chris Christie, Paul Ryan, and Mitch McConnell all lining up and endorsing him. So now it looks like Joe Scarborough, of all people, is actually going to go off on his fellow conservatives for condoning Donald Trump and his racist policies. Let's take a look.
I just want to be really clear here.
Please.
Now, they can't be morally outraged this week when they knew what he was doing last week. And by the way, I said it here on the TV box, and you can check it out on the TV box. I said all the way back in December, I would never endorse Donald Trump so long as he supported banning 1.4 million people from entering the last best hope for a dying world, the United States of America, simply because of the God they worship, simply because they were Muslim. That has been out on the table while every Republican has endorsed this man. And I said, and I have stuck to it, I will never endorse Donald Trump so long as he supports a Muslim ban. I've said it clearly. Now, listen, I predicted, and Mika predicted, that the guy was going to win the nomination. Pissed a lot of people off because we were right and they were wrong. And they said, oh, you must be supporting him.
Yeah.
No, I've always been clear. Said I would never support a man. I also said what he said about David Duke was disqualifying. Wrote it in the Washington Post. So these Republicans this week who were so shocked and stunned and deeply saddened and offended by this clear act of racism had all the evidence in the world before that he had done things that, again, stopped them from endorsing him. How do you endorse Paul Ryan, a man that supports the banning of 1.4 billion Muslims from ever entering the United States of America? You make him back down, actually. That's what I was hoping, that perhaps we could put pressure on him to back down and change that policy. Instead, Al, he's doubled down, and now it's people that may have, what is it, 1/16 Mexican blood? If you got 1/16 Mexican blood, then maybe you can't be a judge. 1/16 Muslim blood? I mean, this is unbelievable. He is getting worse, not better.
Did you actually think that Trump would get better? He built his entire, very successful campaign, by the way, on demagoguery. Joe, have you ever listened to your party? Seriously. See, here's the thing, right? Joe Scarborough is your typical establishment Republican. Now, he loves the establishment. He makes out with the establishment. He loves it. I mean, it's absolutely loves it. So he knows that the Republican Party has and uses dog whistle racism to whip up the racists, right? To whip up the vote. And it's very successful. And he, like most establishment Republicans, aren't actually racist. I don't think Joe's racist. I don't think most of the Republican, the people who are elected Republican politicians, I don't think they're racist. No, they just like it when the racists vote for them because they get to stay in power. And that's really what the politics of racism is all about. You pit two sides against each other, and then you can pick their pockets. And that's what the establishment loves to do, divide and conquer. And what's very successful at this? Racism, as well as socioeconomics. So, look, these people, the racists, they're actually the Republicans' useful idiots, right? They know the Republicans that they can count on these people to go on and vote for them. So the Republicans can go and cut their own taxes and get rid of things like the estate tax. By using this dog whistle racism, they can cut welfare by saying, well, the urban areas, the people that are taking your money, I mean, they're not working for it when they're on welfare. And here's the thing, like welfare reform, since Bill Clinton signed it into law, actually puts a limit on the amount of time you can be on welfare. Now, you ask a normal Joe Blow Republican out in the sticks, hey, did you know that welfare has a 3-5-year term limit before you can stop getting it? Well, I didn't know that. I thought you could sit there and be on welfare for the rest of your life as long as you keep pushing out them babies. Well, that's not true. That's a lie. And guess what that lie is? Who spreads that lie? It's propagated by the Republican Party, by these very same politicians in the establishment that basically want to blind you while they pick your pocket. And that's exactly what they do. Now, on Scarborough, he looks at Donald Trump and says, my God, man, you're not supposed to actually take this racism seriously. You're not supposed to come out and say things like, we're going to ban the Muslims, even temporarily. That makes us look bad. Okay, that makes us look awful when we should say coded things like, let's enhance border security. Okay, and use that as a way to get people to be afraid and to say, well, look at the Republicans, man. They're trying to make us more secure by controlling the borders. Well, I'm going to vote for them. It's the politics of fear. But see, that's the thing. That's the base wants to hear that stuff. They want to hear that Republicans will keep them safe. And politicians like Paul Ryan and Mitch McConnell, well, they want to keep their seats. So they're now throwing in and uniting the party around Donald Trump. But see, here's Scarborough saying you're not actually supposed to support policies like that. Now, I've said before that Donald Trump doesn't actually believe in his positions. I think Donald Trump is a mirror, reflecting all the racism and xenophobia of the Republican base. And of course, a lot of that fear and xenophobia is the result of fear-mongering from mainstream corporate media. The rise of Trump is because the media, all the media, CNN, MSNBC, all of it played into the be afraid of Muslims, be afraid of ISIS, be afraid of the Mexicans stealing your jobs, instead of actually reporting on the truth. You know, Fox News, one of the biggest purveyors of that fear. So now, look, Scarborough may be doing the right thing now, right? And maybe he was even doing the right thing back in December. But the creation of Trump was not a short process. It was a long process of ginning up fear of other people, of people who are different. And the failing of Joe Scarborough is the failing to call that out on a regular basis when talking about these issues. Yes, you can be concerned about border security without alienating 1.8 billion people and trying to keep them out. Yes, you can be concerned about fraud in different various welfare programs without demonizing black people. Okay? You can be concerned about immigration without alienating Latinos. You can do all that stuff, but the Republican Party chooses to cater to the lowest common denominator, and Trump has been very successful at doing so. He's been too successful. He's kind of given away the store. He's pulled back the curtain. Like, this is what we actually believe, or this is what we actually try to advocate for, without actually saying that out loud. The dog whistles, the, wink, wink, nod, nod kind of stuff going on. The politicians would do that, whip up the base, and get immediate votes. Get very, very motivated people. People who are afraid. People who see their country, what they consider their country, slipping away from them. They see bad trade deals like the NAFTA and the upcoming Trans-Pacific Partnership endangering their jobs and having them shipped to other countries. That racism and the economic issues, they are intertwined because of how the media presents things and because of how the politicians present these issues. And they always add a racial angle to it. And they call us liberals the race hustlers. Now here's the thing, right? Don't get me wrong. I'm actually applauding Joe for calling out Paul Ryan and the rest of the Republicans for being spineless assholes. But I also won't ignore the entire Republican establishment's role in allowing this disgusting, this toxic underbelly of racism to thrive inside of one of America's two major political parties. I cannot let that go, and that cannot be ignored. And this election, of all elections that's happened, this election has shone a light on that toxic underbelly. And the good thing about that is now maybe we can actually do something about it.